about 20 years, but she's got years left in her career. But she'd do so well in a backstage coach position. Sarah Del Rey is who I'm talking about.
There you go. Another popular standout, Alex Shelley, will be making his NXT debut next week, where he'll team up with Kushida to take on the grizzled young veterans in the first round. What a way to get back at the Young Bucks, huh? In the first round of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, Shelley was wrestling for Ring of Honor in 2019, but now will be making his way to NXT for 2020. Woo!
Two amazing tag team wrestlers. It's great that these two are in this tournament because we all know Alex Shelley from.
It's so great that they're in WWE.
No, it's not at all. Especially considering Alex Shelley's age. But Alex Shelley being a former Motor City Machine Gun and the Time Splitters. Mm-hmm. Alex Shelley and Kushida. This is. Oh,
nice.
Yeah,
that makes even more sense to me.
We got the Time Splitters here. Amazing tag team. Again, would have rather seen them go to AEW than WWE, but
they
AEW
haven't done well with Kushida yet. He was there. He had He had a really good submission match with Drew Gulak, and then left for a while after losing a match or two, I think. And then he came back with a promo saying he wasn't sure if he was cut out for WWE, but he was going to stick around for his family. So he basically cut the same bullshit promo that Rey Mysterio cut 3 months ago. Yeah. And then I haven't seen much of him since.
Too soon to talk about Gulak, Pasty. Too soon to talk about Gulak.
I'm sorry.
I know. We'll get into that later as well. But, I honestly, sadly, haven't seen Kushida at all in WWE. So we just talked about Kenta. Enough said. I got not much to say about this.
Right. Yeah. They basically let Kenta go back to Japan, and they're like, we need a new Kenta now. Let's bring in Kushida.
Yeah, and they're gonna treat him the same way. Oh, yeah. It's gonna make a big difference.
Yeah.
But that brings us to another standout, Pasty. According to Pro Wrestling Sheet, Jeff Cobb has signed a per-show basis contract with Ring of Honor, which is surprising. We're not hearing a lot of those currently, but following his initial deal that expired in January 1st. Jeff Cobb is reportedly currently happy with Ring of Honor's current product, but he is no longer locked into an exclusive contract with them, allowing him to sign anywhere he pleases or to wrestle with other companies as well as staying with Ring of Honor. Cobb, a former Lucha Underground, Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, New Japan Pro Wrestling Never Openweight, and Ring of Honor TV champion, signed with them a couple years ago back in 2018 and has really been pushed this last year. If you remember back in Lucha Underground, folks who may have watched that, he was the Monster Matanza and made a big impact there.
Yeah, I'm interested to see where this goes because he says he's happy with the company, but I think if you were happy with the company, you wouldn't be on a per match basis.
Maybe not. If you can get a per match basis, now is the time to do it.
Yeah.
Because there's so many companies that.
I mean, if you're an independent contractor, you might as well be an independent contractor. Right?
Yeah, exactly. You look at people like Sami Callihan and Joey Ryan, who until they recently, ironically, both signed with Impact, but still both actually wrestle in multiple companies. You know, they were wrestling. Both of them, sometimes they're wrestling 5 days a week, 6 days a week, every week. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of work, but that's a lot of money when you're headlining.
Yes, indeed.
And when you're selling pictures and selling merch at every one of those. You know, if you're selling merch once a week or twice a week, or you're selling merch 6 times a week, merch makes you more money than matches.
Uh-huh.
It sounds like a slogan, but it's true. Merch makes more money than matches.
Well, I learned on the New Day podcast this week that WWE didn't let them have merch at the venue for the very longest time. Their shirts were only available online. That's pretty sick and sad, I think.
Well, they're black.
Yeah, but still.
That's not me saying it, folks, okay? That's Vince.
That's Vince, yeah.
I know somebody's going to take... If people cared about our podcast, somebody would take that clip and use it. Nobody gives a fuck about us anyway, so it's not a big deal. But
right,
yeah,
use that promo
Vince
code
talking.
BEEFSTICKS at manscaped.com.
The Black Friday special. Oh, fuck it. What an ass.
What an ass. All Elite Wrestling has officially signed Austin Sopp, also and better known as Austin Gunn, son of Mr. Ass himself, Rockabilly Gunn. Austin was previously appeared on AEW during the All Out Battle Royal in 2018. That match was eventually won by Flip Gordon, as well as having a match teaming with his father on next week's episode of AEW Dark. That was the pre-signing official tryout match. He also competed in last year's Ring of Honor Top Prospect Tournament, losing in the finals to Dak Draper.
Oh, Dak Draper.
I haven't seen too much Austin Gunn, but from what I have seen, I have enjoyed him. If they're looking to push Jungle Boy Jack Perry a little bit more this year, I'm really interested in seeing those two fight.
I haven't seen any matches with Austin Gunn. I've seen a picture of him, and he's really going the Hulk Hogan route because I thought he was Latinx.
Yeah.
He looked really dark, at least in the picture I seen. Didn't think he was white. Didn't think he was Billy Gunn white, that's for sure. Maybe his mom is black. I guess I don't know his mother, but he was dark.
Billy is an ass man.
He's an ass man. He might.
You know, this is one signing I've predicted since Billy came to AEW to help out with the backstage goings-ons. I figured that would have been a shoe-in. Like, yeah, I'll work for you. Hire my kid, too. You know?
So can we, you just made me think of this when you literally just said that. We got to discuss for just a millisecond here, the fuck ever happened to Cody Hall? Cody Hall was such an impressive wrestler. He had his father's size. He was huge. He was a good wrestler. He was green, had a long way to go. He worked New Japan. He worked Ring of Honor. He was in the dojos. It's Scott Hall's son. You have a storyline already written in. Scott Hall's a much huger star than Billy Gunn or other guys. What the fuck ever happened to Cody Hall? I know, I think 2, maybe 3 years ago, we had a story about how he was like stealing money from.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was. He was for a cup of coffee. And I know we had talked about how he was stealing money from Scott Hall, but I guess if my father was a worthless drunk who was worth millions of dollars, I'd probably steal money from him too. But yeah, I don't know. I just thought about that when you were talking about, this is one I've called for a while. It's like, yeah, well, where the fuck is Cody hiding? I liked Cody Hall. He would have been on my list of people who was already big by now.
Yeah.
He was taller than his dad. And Scott Hall's no slouch. Anyways, that was my rant.
I looked him up. And the most recent thing I'm seeing is he was accused of deliberately breaking his opponent's hand in a match in 2017.
Oh, that's not good.
According to a report from Sportskeeda, the accusation started with independent wrestler Vinny Massaro was talking football with one of his Twitter followers, discussing controversial tweets from Colin Kaepernick's girlfriend, Nissa Diab, that allegedly cost him a spot on the Baltimore Ravens roster. After commenting on why the Ravens passed on Cap, Cody Hall replied seemingly out of nowhere, telling Massaro that he passed on their match because he's a pussy. Moments later, Massaro replied to Hall's post accusing the second-generation power of shooting on him and breaking his hand during their match. He compared Hall's actions to those of Sexy Star against Rosemary at AAA's Triplemania 25 event the previous month. So it was right after that. I didn't hear about
Sexy Star's still fucking wrestling.
Right.
She still has work, and don't get me wrong, she's talented. It was despicable what she did, but she's talented. But I just think it's sad. I thought he had a long way to go in this business.
Mm-hmm. Massaro also commented that Hall should be blackballed by the wrestling industry, but is able to get away with his actions due to the fact that his father's a wrestling legend. So maybe that's
apparently not.
Maybe that's what you know what I mean, though. Maybe that's
apparently he was. Yeah, maybe he was blackballed.
Just because his dad's a legend, I would see making an example out of him for that. Where Sexy Star, she might have did something bad, but she also like shook the world with that news for a minute. You know what I mean? So there's some credibility there, because when you get the press, you know, I don't know. It is. But
then you got to look at somebody like Teddy Hart, who's had like 27 second chances.
Right.
It's like, but nonetheless, whatever.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Yeah. Just a little fact checking since we were talking about it.
No, I'm glad you did, because I don't know why it popped up, but I all of a sudden got super curious about it. Oh, this week, Pasty, though, talk about some more bullshit. Oh, this week both Shikara Inc. and the Wrestle Factory LLC, which is the school owned by veteran Shikara wrestler Mike Quackenbush, announced that they have severed ties with wrestler and trainer Rory Gulak. They released an official announcement saying, quote, "We take allegations of misconduct very seriously. In accordance with this, we cooperate completely and transparently with all law enforcement agencies. Our priority is and always will be to the safety of our fans, cast, and crew." Unquote. There's been no official law enforcement announcement on Gulak, Pasty as of this recording, and he also has not issued any comments on the matter. However, 2 female Twitter users made several disturbing sexual allegations against Gulak over the weekend and included screenshots from online conversations with him. Now, Rory Gulak, if you recognize the Gulak name, is the brother of WWE's Drew Gulak.
Yeah, there's only one family out there with that last name.
There's not a lot. And Rory has been used as enhancement talent several times for WWE over the years. Hopefully everything gets figured out, and if it's legit, hopefully he never works again. If it's not legit, hopefully he, gets back on track and gets his work.
I guess one thing that could be said in the wake of like the Enzo thing and the James Ellsworth thing is at least he's like not making everything public.
Yeah, it's good that he's not out there hooting and hollering.
Yeah. Granted, he's not a public figure like them either, so I don't know.
No, but he's not playing the ACH card.
Yeah. Oh, and we were just talking about Scott Hall, and you can't talk about Scott Hall with Kevin Nash. Well, if you're looking for Kevin Nash to fuel up for diesel power one more time, you may want to pump the brakes on that big rig. Big Sexy joined Scott Hall at a big-time wrestling show in Durham, North Carolina over the weekend. Nash said he finally lost to the one opponent who does no jobs, Father Time, stating, "I am retired." Don't feel bad for the Silver Fox, though, because there's plenty on the plate left for Nash. At 60 years young, the master of the jackknife powerbomb is set to film a new movie with Alec Baldwin coming up this summer. Not to mention, he, along with his NWO brethren Hulk Hogan, Scott Hall, and Sean Weltman, are getting inducted in the WWE Hall of Fame for a second time, as all 4 men have been inducted once already. Handing out those rings!
You never realize how many nicknames somebody have until you sit down and read an article about them.
Did you see the picture? Did you see the picture of Kevin Nash standing there without knee pads?
Yeah.
Holy shit!
It's
I wouldn't be walking anymore. I'd be afraid to walk. Like, you got 3 more steps on that thing, I think.
I'd be on one of them. I'd be on one of them little rascal scooters.
And you can say you're done all you want, Kevin Nash, but that Saudi Arabia money has turned a lot of heads.
When it comes knocking, you come a jackknifing, baby.
Kevin Nash versus Goldberg. Yep, that'll be the next one.
Oh, yeah, that's just what we need. That was bad 30 years ago when they were in their primes. Holy shit. Well,
sad that he has to be retired, but I've been not interested in seeing him wrestle for quite some time.
Yeah, it's been about 2 years since he had his knee surgery, and we don't need him, and I don't think he can do him. He
could have stopped when he started in the longest yard,
Yeah,
like that would have been a good time.
And talk about broken down and hurt. We move on to our injury report, Pasty.
Ooh.
Yes, Will Ospreay reportedly suffered an ankle injury or possibly a broken heel during IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship match at New Japan Pro Wrestling Wrestle Kingdom match against Hiromu Takahashi The injury may have happened when Ospreay pulled off a Sasuke special during the match. That's what most reports are saying. I went back to watch it a few